I believe there's a hero in all of us.
You have great powers, only some of which you have as yet discovered.
I'm a superhero,
a real-life superhero.
The world needs extraordinary.
We will make you a superhero.
Are you ready to become a hero?
Initiating surprise in 3.
This
2
is
1.
The Real Brian Show.
No agenda, no format. 42 minutes of anything goes. You ready to nerd out? I know I'm ready to nerd out. I think we're all ready to nerd out. There is an incredible Star Wars game that's coming out here. It looks awesome. I've got some new music to share. Captain saw Thor Love and Thunder. I didn't because I don't believe in Norse gods, so I'm boycotting this movie.
Sensei John Lawrence of Eagle Fang Karate. Let me tell you why my dojo is a perfect place for a modern young woman like yourself. We live in a world where you gotta be an alpha to survive. You're either a killer or you're dead meat. You gotta be a man. But at Eagle Fang, we confront that problematic phrase and make it empowering for all. We teach anyone who identifies as female to embrace their queenly strength and tear down the neo-masculine hierarchy to confront internalized sexism.
Sounds inclusive, but what about non-binary and gender fluid?
Yes, fluids are crucial. If you don't hydrate, it affects performance.
Let's rock it! Welcome to The Real Brian Show. Thanks for joining us. I am The Real Brian.
I'm Captain Influence.
Fluids are very crucial, by the way. I've got myself a LaCroix today.
What a great answer by Johnny Lawrence.
We love Sensei Johnny Lawrence. I'm wearing my Cobra Kai shirt today in honor of... season 5 is coming out sometime soon. I don't even know when anymore. Yeah.
Is it soon?
It's soon. It's this year sometime. Could be Christmas.
Yeah, this year
it could be August. It could be... it might be out. I don't even know. Maybe I should go look. I have no idea. Well, welcome. I'm so excited you're here today because I'm excited you're here, Captain. I'm excited you're here, listening, watching, wherever you're at, standing on your head. Some people do actually stand on their heads and listen to the show
all day.
At least for the duration of the 42 minutes.
Well, that makes sense
cool.
too because you need a lot more blood in your brain to really absorb this show and get the most out of it. So
that's deep, man.
I wish I'd thought of that actually.
Next time, stand on your head and have the microphone and the camera pointed, so that it shows you upside down, and there you go.
Well, you can just see my feet.
Well, that's true too. Quite the position. You'd hear you, but you'd see the feet just kind of, wiggling, just doing your thing.
That would be funny. I don't think I could pull it off.
Speaking of feet, do you have an issue when you're fishing, when you're dangling your feet in the water? Do you like fish nibbling on your toes periodically? Do you ever have that problem?
No, but that's a really good question.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just figured it would be kind of an issue,
It depends on the lake, I think. I bet there are some lakes. I bet that even if you went down to the Amazon in, Brazil or wherever, and dangle your feet where there's a lot of piranhas, they probably still wouldn't nibble your feet unless your feet are bleeding.
True.
Then you're going to lose your toes.
Yeah, you might lose your whole... Okay.
Yeah.
Or if there's like an anaconda or something, that just wants to, suckle your toes. I mean...
That'd be a good T-shirt.
Yeah. My toes got suckled by a never mind.
Anaconda.
All right, so hey, welcome. What's going on with you, man? Are you getting ready to leave? Is that what I'm understanding?
Funny you should mention dangling my toes in water when I'm fishing. I'm going on my annual fishing trip with my brothers and my dad. So,
all right,
Mobridge, South Dakota, beautiful, exotic Mobridge, South Dakota.
Beautiful.
And going to be there for a few days and catch some walleye and whatever else bites. So
I want some Mobridge.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I will probably come home from the trip jonesing for a fishing boat again. So remember that's happened a few times.
I was wondering whatever are you gonna ever buy one? And by the way, how big are we talking? Like, a 100-foot trawler? Are you talking about like a little
small, like a 2-man fishing boat with a little outboard motor? That's what I would want.
So like a rowboat.
But every time I come home from that trip jonesing for it, I realize pretty quickly that it's more of a pain than it's worth. So, which I think a lot of boat owners find after they buy a boat.
You said jonesing twice, Mr. Jones and Me. You remember that song, Counting Crows, from like the 90s?
Mr. Jones. Oh, the other song. Oh, okay. Not the cool Mr. Jones song, the lame Mr. Jones song.
I liked, that's the only song I liked theirs actually, but, Counting Crows. Anyway, so jonesing.
Is that Mrs. Jones, actually?
That was
I think I
Mr.
got
Jones.
that wrong.
You might, I don't know, you might have been Mrs. Jones, but Mr. Jones is the Counting Crow song.
Yes.
Anyway, the point is jonesing. Where did that even, I know it's like a 90s term. Where did that come from, dude? Do you have any idea?
Well, I live in the 90s, but
I know you do.
As it turns out, today's origin, Brian, is jonesing.
2 weeks in a row.
I got this from mentalfloss.com, by the way. So prepare yourselves. This is going to be a little controversial.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever had a Love Jones? There's a movie called Love Jones, I think. Or even a Basketball Jones. I'm sure you have, Brian.
Yeah, there's a Love and Basketball movie.
Yeah, okay. Well, when you couldn't play basketball for a while because of your back, I bet you were jonesing to play basketball, right?
Oh, yeah. Still do.
Do you occasionally jones for a hot now Krispy Kreme donut only to find the store closed?
I've never had a hot, fresh Krispy Kreme donut, so I don't know what one tastes like. I've only had a day old. Sucks.
Well, that was just a rhetorical question, but thanks for answering. Did you know that when you use that terminology, you're actually indulging in some drug slang?
We want drugs.
Oh,
sorry. I love you.
Can you play the dun dun dun?
Dun, dun, dun. We love you, drugs.
In the early 1960s, a Jones was a craving, but specifically a craving for heroin.
Oh.
Yeah. Clever junkies have been using, quote, Mr. Jones as a code name for the drug since it became popular with beatniks in the late 1950s. Beatniks, there's another origin. I haven't heard that term in a long time. I'm looking for Mr. Jones, quote unquote, was a subtle way to score when you were new in town and didn't yet have a regular dealer. Now, the term evolved over the next several years so that eventually when an addict was alternately sweating and shivering while in need of a fix, he or she was described as jonesing. Then by the early 1970s, however, Jones had expanded to describe any sort of severe longing or craving like we use it now, whether for food or a relationship or a shiny new sports car or a fishing boat. But this isn't the first time drug-related terminology has entered our everyday jargon. The word yen, as in she has a real yen for men. Have you ever heard that term? I don't think I've heard that very often, but apparently it's a thing.
Yen is, like a form of currency in Japan.
Right.
But yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But so the word yen, apparently people have used it in that context. It started out as a corruption of the 1920s era Cantonese phrase yin yan, not yin yang, yin yan or opium craving. So,
poppies will make you sleepy. Oh, we love poppies.
So that's where jonesing comes from. It's drug terminology from the 60s.
Fantastic. Yeah. So Mr. Jones by Counting Crows, when he's like, Mr. Jones and me tell each other fairy tales and we stare at the beautiful women. She's looking at you. No, dude, she's looking at me, man. You know that? Smiling totally in the bright lights coming through in stereo. Oh, man.
I know. I never thought of it that way before, but you're right. That Counting Crows song might have been a drug song. And that's not the first time we've heard a rock band make a drug song that you wouldn't realize was about drugs.
Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb, that was all about heroin too. I mean, come on. If you listen to the lyrics, it's like, there's just no, I mean, if it's about something else, wow. But
that's funny because I always thought that song was just about our, society's general apathy towards
maybe
its own problems.
See, maybe it's a dual meaning because when you listen to it, you're just kind of like, it even talks about just a little pinprick. Ooh,
That's true. That's true.
It's very interesting though, right. Kind of when you're thinking about it, as you listen to the lyrics, you're like, this feels like a drug trip.
I think you're probably right.
I don't know for sure because, unless you actually talk to the artist who wrote it, you don't really know, do we?
Right. And sometimes even then they don't really explain it very well. Like Hotel California.
Yeah. Which apparently was not about drugs, but then who knows? So really jonesing is the idea of that. You're so excited to get a fishing boat that it's like a drug addiction is essentially, that's what it is.
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got a boat addiction.
But I've learned my lesson. I know from the past couple of years when I come back going, I should get a fishing boat on eBay.
I know
I just know better now. I don't want to have to deal with backing it out of my driveway, getting, just doing all the little things that once you learn how to do it, it's easy. I mean, people who own a boat, they're like, what are you talking about, dude? It's easy. And you're only getting a little boat. What's the problem? I don't want to have to deal with it. I just don't want to deal with it.
It's real easy when you're backing it into the lake and the car floats away. That's real easy.
then that's also a possibility. I don't want
that to
happen.
It does happen. Yep. We've got a friend who works down at the lake, for fun. And he said, yeah, we had to fish a car out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, it's pretty funny, actually. I wouldn't want to do that. No, thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, dude, speaking of jonesing then, as you know, I've been jonesing about music and with music and playing the piano. I have been playing actually quite a bit, Captain. It's been fun. I've been practicing. I've been, getting the music that I composed, way back up to speed, getting up to excellence and stuff like that, which is what I've been working on. I am crying because the 88 key keyboard that I'm trying to get, the fund is not going anywhere, man. I feel like my dream is being shattered here. So are you going to help this fund out to get this keyboard? Or are you just going to let this dream die a horrible death? I mean,
yeah, guys.
Is it a guilt trip? I guess it is.
Hey, yeah. You could do that once in a while. It's okay.
Yeah, I got.
Everyone listening will just be like,
this is serious. Like, I'm actually not kidding, because the goal here is to get a keyboard that I can use and I can put music out for everyone for free. And then
and wouldn't it be cool if you compose music for the show?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I wanted to do some stuff for the show eventually, that's what I would do. But I mean, it's a chunk of money, people. So that's what I'm saying. Like, please help. It doesn't. I mean, I'm not asking somebody to come buy it for me. I don't want that. Like, I have some money for it. I just don't have the full 1,000. And so it's like, if everybody could throw like a little here and there at it, it would be feasible. And that's all I'm asking. So it's a Buy Me a Coffee. Just go to the Buy Me a Coffee fund. The link is below in the description on YouTube and in the show notes for the podcast. So just please consider it, really. But the cool part, and this is something that I find very interesting, is that, and I used to do this, by the way. So, Captain, I don't know if you'll find this interesting or not, but back in college, I did a music minor. And one of the things that they taught us to do was to really analyze music, to pick out each of the instruments. And so we'd listen to this classical music, which has full on, symphony orchestras.
Right.
And it would be like, all right, pick out the oboes, pick out the clarinets, pick out the, whatever. They would just literally and we would be like, okay, so we'd start training our ears to listen for those things. And eventually I got to the point where I could hear almost all of those things. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, that is neat.
And I realized that as I wasn't playing anymore, I just stopped paying attention to that stuff and just, listen to music, and I enjoyed it and kind of thing. Now that I'm playing again, I have been like inadvertently listening to it. I wasn't planning on it. Just all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I just picked out something, or, that was an interesting little like flare that they did there or whatever. I start picking out these little nuances, or did you catch that high harmony most people can't hear, or little things like that. And so and not to mention, I'm listening to the nuance of the song, the nuance of the chord progression, or the appoggiatura that they did, or, whatever. So I'm starting to really...
Oh, the appoggiatura.
The appoggiatura.
Oh.
That's
okay,
it's
Brian.
Fantastic. Hold on. Let me grab my LaCroix with my...
Is that like similar to Allegra or...
it's much better than an Allegra or
I'm trying to think of other terms.
It's definitely better than an apostrophe. So, I can't even... Appoggiatura. It's appoggiatura, not appoggiatura.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes. Gosh, he's a nightmare. So, it's cool, man. Understanding music to a deep level, it's cool. And you know what's amazing? So, I think somebody talked about this. I can't remember what movie it was. It might have been Star Wars or something, but like, when they first realized that they could use the Force and like the Force opened up to them, I'm not even sure if it was, or if it was like magic or something. And it was literally just like, whoa, like that's what it's been feeling like again with the music, is like, it's literally like, I can use the Force again. Kind of that feeling, if that makes any sense. So it's really been cool, man.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it.
I got to share something funny, dude. This is ridiculous. So, my cousin Stephanie, we talked about a post that she shared last week that was serious. This one is not serious.
Right.
I actually want to show it. So if you're watching YouTube, you will actually be able to see this, or you can at least listen to it, or go check it out later. But this is really, really funny. So she was saying that, okay, first of all, I want to paint a picture. There's a kid, a grown man who's a kid, living in his parents' basement, playing video games all day, doesn't have a job. And then there's the father who's on the riding lawnmower. Okay, I just want to say that. And so Stephanie's like, the kid is going to be Clara, my cousin, someday. And the guy on the riding lawnmower is going to be Paul, her father. Here we go. This is funny. I want you to watch this. This is...
This cost me like hundreds of dollars. It's an expensive hobby. I don't care. You got to get a job. What is this achieve? What is this achieve? What does that achieve? What is this going to do? Mowing my games over. Maybe you'll quit playing for a while, get a job, pay some of your bills.
gosh, I love it. He's just freaking out, dude.
That poor kid.
I love that scream though. He's just like
I mean, I on some level I sympathize with him, even though I've had a job for all my adult life. But dang, that's harsh. That's some tough love right there.
Yeah. And she's like, this is
Ouch.
going to be Claire someday. And I'm like, oh man, this is, but the difference is now is, people don't have physical copies of video games anymore unless you're like into collecting them. Everything's digital. So how would you do that? How would you even, what are you going to mow over the laptop or something? But then it's like, oh no, because then, you're still on your account. So you got to delete the account and delete all the games. But,
yeah. I think I'm wondering if that video is just old. It's probably 20 years old.
The guy was a millennial. So he's not that old. It's, I don't know, but whatever. One way or the other, it was freaking hilarious, but I just thought, oh my gosh, I love it. Hey, happy birthday to my dad. That was Monday, his birthday. I like celebrating birthdays, We had fun with that.
My dad's birthday's today, and I have yet to call him. So,
oh, dude,
yeah,
get on the phone.
I know, I've been busy.
Anyway.
I've been busy all day.
Gosh, yeah. What's more important, the show or your dad? Clearly, the show.
My job, but
I decided to come up with a list of 50 things, this is my goal. My goal is 50 things. A list of 50 things to nerd out on. Totally different stuff. Now, it can be a small thing to nerd out on, or it could be something massive. But it's more of like, let's get creative. What would I like to learn about? What would I like to experience, or do? And ideally, these are things that are going to be with people too. It's not just going to be by myself. Some things can, of course.
So it's like a nerd out bucket list. Is that what you're?
Sort of. But then I got to thinking that if I do this list, then we can do videos on each of these things too, which would be ideally fun, like getting a riding lawnmower and running over something crazy like video games or whatever. I mean, something like that could be really cool. Having a lightsaber fight with my cousin where I'm the one with the heavy grade lightsaber and she's got nothing. I think it'd be cool to come up with a really fun 50 thing list of whatever you want to nerd out on. So here's my question. Who would join me? You don't have to come up with 50 things. It could be like 5 things. I don't care. But come up with a list of anything. And guess what? If I like, some of the things you're talking about and I'm interested in them, then maybe it would become an episode here on the show that we can nerd out together on. So what do you think? First of all, Captain, would you join me?
Yes, I would. But but I'd have to do a lot of deep thinking, and me, I'm deep thinking. But but I'd have to do some deep. I'd have to direct my deep thoughts towards that list. Yeah.
Keep in mind though, this is something that could be as simple as in Sea of Thieves. By the way. I learned something in Sea of Thieves that I know you don't know because none of the guys knew at the time. It's called Water Dash, and it's freaking amazing. So it could be something, in a video game that we want to nerd out on, or like I have an idea for a video series. It might be a video with a bunch of small, short clips, and it's I'm going to do it. And it's the ones where, when people jump off giant cliffs to see if they can survive or, do crazy
like hold
things.
My beer.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking we should do stuff like that. So, I mean, it can be really, really small, random things, but then it could be something as much as like there's this sport plane called an Icon that is, it's a regular plane, but it folds up and you can put it on a trailer and tow it behind your car. And then it's also an amphibious plane too. So basically, you take off from an airport, you go land on a lake, you do your thing, and you only have to have a sport license. Well, they do free test rides. And I'm like, see, like that would be fun to nerd out on. That's kind of a big deal because you got to find an Icon dealer and they got to okay it, and then we got to film it. That'd be kind of fun.
That's ambitious. That's an ambitious example right there.
But that's a big one.
I want to fly a plane by myself with a sports license.
No. You'd have to go with an instructor because you'd be doing a test ride. You don't own it. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I think so. I'm talking about it can be as small as I want to nerd out on making the best Harry Potter butterbeer. Or doing something crazy big, like jumping out of a plane without a parachute or something like that. And,
okay. I'm behind that. I'm behind that. Okay.
So I would love, if any of you, please, if you have a desire to join us in creating a list, and again, this could be a few things. Don't go crazy. I'm doing 50. That's me. But joining me in doing a couple of things and share that list with us too, so that we can nerd out on it together and maybe even turn it into an episode. And if you're interested, you could even be on the episode with us, which that would be so much fun. So description below, contact us. If you want to comment in the YouTube channel, please do that. If you want to send me, a direct message, there's all kinds of contact info in the description on the YouTube channel and also in the podcast show notes. So please let me know. I think it's time though So Stranger Things, has been out. If you haven't seen it by now, you're probably not intending to watch it anytime soon, or you really don't care. But I think we'll try to keep spoilers away if we can. I just wanted to share a couple of random thoughts, final random thoughts for the season 4 wrap up, since we haven't really done that yet. But Captain, what did you think?
I like this season. I always like every season they come out with, not just on principle, but they've just been consistent season after season with giving us some really good, content. But episode 8, the episode 8 and 9 that were really long. Episode 9 was like super long, wasn't it? Like,
it's 2.5 hours almost.
Yeah, it was like a long movie long.
Yeah.
Episode 8 started making me think that they were trying a little too hard, and which is a first in the series for me. Like just some of the, my only issue with the season was that it felt like a little forced in some places, especially in the last couple episodes. I thought there was some gratuitous character development that didn't need to be there, especially with Will. What was up with that guy?
I know, we have
really
no idea.
Weird stuff. Yeah,
there was some.
So
that was weird with no payoff.
So I assume, but so Will's acting weird, and then he had that weird conversation with his brother. Anyway, we won't spoil anything, but just Will's acting really weird and getting all and like being ultra emotional about stuff. And
there are theories,
just
by
some
the
of
way, but we don't know.
Yeah. So and then some of the other character interactions just felt a little bit forced at times, whereas I never really felt that with the other seasons. So there was that, but aside from that, in general, I thought that episode 9 finished pretty strong, and it ended the season on a huge cliffhanger. So, which we like.
Yeah, I know, and to me, episodes 8 and 9 were decent. I liked them. I thought episode 9 was better than 8.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I also thought, in many ways, episode 9 was just too long, which is really weird to say that, because I like long episodes and I've liked that they've extended these episodes, but to me it felt a little long. I mean, if I look at season 4 as a whole, I thought it started off nice and strong. I liked where they were going. I was definitely sucked in and engaged right away. But to me, the two shining episodes of the entire season were episode 4, Dear Billy. That one was amazing. That episode it blew my mind. And then episode 7 was fantastic as well. To me, those were the best, and they, if you look at any rating out there, they're also rated the highest too.
Okay.
And the rest of the season was okay. Now this is not a spoiler if you've seen season 3, but there's been a Russian storyline in season 3, and it's continued into season 4 and stuff like that. I still don't understand why we had the whole Russian storyline, especially to that length and to that detail. It just. I didn't think it was that great in season 3, and I didn't think it was that great here in season 4. I thought it was okay. Yeah, sure, it gave a little bit of depth and explanation to what was going on, but it was also just kind of like, he took us away from the stuff that was more fun, I thought.
I think they did it because they, the whole Cold War Soviet Union thing was very pop culture in the 80s. And so I think that's why they threw that little plot line in there, was because
it wasn't a little plot line. That's the problem. If it was a little plot line, then that would have been great. This was a pretty decent sized plot line that I just kind of thought it was just too much. But whatever. But other than that, I think overall it was still good, and I still think the Duffers are geniuses, and I still think they're doing an amazing job, and they did some great use of music, which we've already talked about before. And I know that the Kate Bush, running up that hill song might have been a little overdone, but I got to tell you,
it was overdone.
That's a phenomenon that, from what I understand, this has never happened in the history of music. Where, now I'm not entirely sure if this is true, but I've been reading up on this, and this is sort of the running commentary, is that she releases the song in 1985. She does fine, no big deal. Most of the people have never heard this song before. Some have, Stranger Things comes in, hey, we found a song from 85. We're going to play it. All of a sudden, it not only becomes repopularized, but it comes to such a massive popular level beyond anything that really people have ever seen from a song of the past. And
from
saying
an obscure song of the past.
Yeah, it's almost like a perfect storm phenomenon of just incredible great. It's like literally a phoenix rising out of the ashes sort of thing. It's just incredible. So the amount of money that she has made on a weekly basis is staggering, from the song. So it's incredible.
It reminds me of what happened with Bohemian Rhapsody when Wayne's World came out in the mid 90s.
This
early
is
90s.
significantly bigger. Like infinitely bigger almost, because also of YouTube.
Because of social media. We didn't have it back then.
Everybody is playing it and covering it right now on YouTube. It's like everywhere you go, there's a new video of somebody else covering it. It's ridiculous. It's gone. I mean, it's out of control.
At the end of episode 9, during the credits, they threw in a somewhat obscure Susie and the Banshees song, which I really appreciated. So I liked that a lot. Spellbound, it was called, I think. So
okay, nice, dude. So Love and Thunder, Thor: Love and Thunder. Let's talk about it, man. It's out. What'd you think?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Everyone in the theater loved it. It made me laugh more than Ragnarok did, and it was very similar humor. So if you liked Ragnarok and how that, I mean, it was a little different than a lot of the other MCU movies. This is the same type of thing. And, I thought that Christian Bale, who I didn't expect to be in it, and Russell Crowe, who I didn't know was going to be in it, they did great as the big bad and Zeus, respectively. Russell Crowe was a fantastic Zeus, by the way. And Matt Damon reprised his fake Loki role again. Remember Matt Damon, who he played the thespian Loki?
Yep.
Along with Chris Hemsworth's brother, Luke, as the fake Thor. Because I was like, that guy who plays the fake Thor looks a lot like the real Thor. It's because it's his brother.
Yep. And he did that, so that's a reprise as well.
Yeah, and exactly. And then who could forget the Guardians of the Galaxy? I mean, that was just awesome. The first part of the movie, they had the Guardians of the Galaxy in it. So I loved it, and I can't wait to see it again, to be honest. What did you think of the movie?
Well, as I said in the intro, I didn't see the movie. I don't believe in Norse gods, and so I'm boycotting this movie, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just like you boycotted Ragnarok, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a Thor fan at all. So let's talk about Star Wars Eclipse. This game is coming. I don't know what's so funny, man. I don't like Thor. Guardians of the Galaxy I love, but I don't like Thor. I liked Fat Thor because it was a good, I can't give a straight face. All right, Star Wars Eclipse. Tell me, you found this game. So, talk about it.
Yeah. So I ran across a game trailer for this game coming out called Star Wars Eclipse, and it turns out I shouldn't have been too excited because it's in early development. It's by a Canadian studio called Quantic Dream. I've never heard of them before, but they're working with Lucasfilm Games, and it's in early development. But they are selling it hard with a really great trailer and a lot of incredible cutscenes. So I can't wait to see how this continues to develop. Have you seen the trailer, Brian?
No. In fact, I was looking through some of the links you had, but I don't think I found the trailer yet.
Okay.
So I do need to watch it.
You just look up YouTube Star Wars Eclipse and you'll find it. But according to StarWarsEclipse.com, you can watch the trailer right there. It's supposedly an action adventure multi-character branching narrative game set in the High Republic era. So it sounds like it might be similar to Knights of the Old Republic as far as gameplay is concerned, although it's a way older game, or even maybe Mass Effect. So I'm super stoked. I guess it's one of those where the decisions you make as whatever character you're playing will affect the whole story, and they're toting it as like this almost endlessly branching story possibilities because of this. So now no word yet on a release date, of course, because it's still way too early, nor even a release year. But since this is not an Activision Blizzard property, we might actually see it within the next 5 years. So I'm excited.
I got to say, I'm very excited about that choose your own adventure thing. And in fact, I was literally having a conversation with the mad scientist about this recently, because we've both been going back and playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. But then there's a lot of the expansions that we never did get a chance to play through. And we're getting to that point finally. And the thing about that game is that you can sort of choose your own adventure. There's a limitation to it, Yeah. And it's fun, but it's very, very limiting. And so we were talking about how it would be really, really nice if they would give us a little more freedom into that, which would create, different multiple paths. How far, can you go? How dark can you get as a dark Jedi? Does it actually, because right now it's like, oh, well, we've got some concerns, with your evil darkness or whatever inside of you, but we're going to make you a master anyway. It's kind of like, no, come on, let's change this. So like they won't make you a master and your character gets angry and starts, like doing something crazy. Like, I mean, let's get into this. Let's get deep into this. I think that would be cool if they go down this path, and maybe with, new technology and all that they could. So that makes me excited, dude.
Yeah, the trailer, once you see it, you'll understand why I'm nerding out about it. It's some of the best Star Wars footage that I've ever seen.
Really? Okay.
But hands down. Oh yeah. It's like, wow. If the game is anything like the trailer in any way, it's going to be a new thing. So, and I'm always looking for new things in games. So that's exciting.
This is good because I've said this before, but some of the Star Wars video games is better story than some of the Star Wars movies.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, and
hands down, that's an objective fact.
It is. Yes. I mean, it really is. And it's not. So if you've never seen or played some of these games, you can go onto YouTube and actually watch gameplay. It'll go through the cutscene, the story cutscenes and stuff.
Between Battlefront 2's campaign and Jedi Fallen Order, those two are infinitely better than any of the movies, really. So,
well, not the first three though.
Well, not the second one for sure. I mean, episode 5. I'm
4, 5, and 6 are. I mean, if it weren't for those, we wouldn't have these games. But
true.
Either way, though, they are great story. You're right, and actually, some of the expansion stories in Star Wars: The Old Republic, which they're still working on, they're still putting out new stuff. Is just it blows your mind.
Oh, good.
And actually, so you know how people. I'm going to nerd out about this for just 1 minute, but you know how people were talking about with The Last Jedi. And how frustrated? No, not The Last Jedi. I'm sorry. Rise of Skywalker, the final Star Wars movie, the sequel trilogy. They were frustrated about the fact that the Emperor had resurrected. He died. He fell down the shaft. Why the heck is he still there? Well, before that movie came out, and in fact, even before any of the sequel trilogy came out, this was 2011. When Star Wars: The Old Republic was released originally, there was story in there about the Emperor Eternal, is what they called it, and how the Emperor has existed all the way throughout the centuries, millennia even, and how if he dies, he just essentially reincarnated as a different form, but it's still the Emperor's spirit all the way throughout time. You can't kill him, essentially.
Okay.
And granted, I've not seen the whole story behind it. There's like hints of things that I've seen, and then that's where I had to stop, and that's why we're going back and playing through it again. So it works if you and the power of the Emperor, how he essentially built all those Star Destroyers with using the Force and stuff. There have been explanations of that in this Star Wars game as well. So that's why it's been fascinating to me to kind of say, okay, well, a lot of people hated those movies, but the reality is they've been talking about this stuff for years, long before these movies came out. So it's cool. I love the video game stories. I think they're far better, more in depth, and they make sense too.
And I think I shared a link. I don't know if you can share it on the YouTube channel or wherever. That link. There's a link to a video on YouTube you can watch that has it's like a compilation of Star Wars video game cutscenes and story cutscenes. It's like a 10 out of 10. If you're a Star Wars fan, watch that video. It's fantastic.
That's what you were alluding to earlier with Battlefront, and it has some Eclipse stuff, but it has Star Wars: The Old Republic stuff in there as well.
I think that might be where I first saw the Eclipse trailer, was on that video.
Okay,
so
that's what I was looking for, but it was more gameplay or something, like some simulated gameplay or whatever. But cool, man. Dude, I love it. I love new creative games coming out. We're trying. It's hard to find good creative games sometimes, so it's neat.
AAA games, at least. I'm sure there's a lot. There's tons of indie games out there that are pretty creative that I just haven't looked at yet. So
yeah, it's true. Well, dude, I've got some new music. We haven't been able to do that in a few weeks, so I wanted to share some new stuff. And I've been as you know, going on this crazy music spree journey right now, which has been out of control just because I'm like, more music, give me new music. So I'm jonesing, man. Huge fan of Icon for Hire, and I mentioned one, Ready for Combat. That's been a month or so ago since I mentioned that one. Full on rock, man. Some good quality hard rock. They have a new song called Dismantled. It's awesome. So if you're an Icon for Hire fan or you like that awesome rock style that's there, Anberlin. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that band. They've been around for a while now, but they just put out a new song called Circles, and it's interesting because the musicianship in it is really fun because they've got some really cool riffs, and then the drummer just goes crazy on some stuff, and then it's some really interesting singing going on in the background. So I love the musicianship in it. It's been a fun song. High fan of that one. And then, Captain, this one's fun. So I've mentioned Fleurie before. Fleurie.
Fleurie, yes.
Fleurie. I've mentioned her on the show before, and she's got stuff going way back. I still listen to some of her stuff from, I don't even know, like 7-8 years ago, whatever now. This new song that
So
came
long
out,
ago.
I know, it's like, it's like, dude, it's oldies now, man. Anyway, she did a song with Bren Joy, and it's a very interesting song because at first I'm looking Strawberries and Sunsets. I'm like, that just sounds kind of like a 60s summery song, you know? Something like
Strawberry Fields Forever.
Yeah, or Incense and Peppermints, you know? Just it's got that 60s welcome to the happy summer song. And so I put it on there and I'm like, it feels like summer. It's just, and you know what's interesting to me about this song though is that it's very different from her normal style, which I love. So I love when an artist will branch out and do something different, and it is so freaking cool, so catchy, so just happy. I don't know, I love the song. So check it out. I'm gonna have all 3 of these songs in our TRBS Spotify mix, so you can go check them out there. Links are all over the place. The links will be in the description below on the YouTube channel and in the show notes. So, you know, even if you don't use Spotify, just go check the songs out. Put them into whatever the heck you use. And by the way, if you've not followed our, we've got a couple of lists. We've got the TRBS Gloriousness mix, which I have got. I've got that on there. We've got the Captain Influence playlist.
Yeah.
Which is on there. We've got our TRBS 2022 and 21 and 20. We go all the way back to, I think 2016 is when we started talking about music. And so I created basically playlists for each of the years, and whatever we talked about on the show got thrown into those playlists during that, you know, actual calendar year. So go check it out.
Yeah, please.
We'll have them all in there. Anyway, this has been fun, man. I appreciate this. We're gonna actually do it. We're gonna keep it to 42 minutes. I love this. So, hey, thank you again for joining us. Though, really, we are not gonna have a Friday episode next week, but we will have an interview next week. So make sure to check that one out. It's a lot of fun. It's a deep psychology interview. It's really cool, man.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. So make sure to check that out. And again, if you've not already checked out the YouTube channel, please go there, subscribe. There's all kinds of stuff you're missing out on if you're not on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. And of course, as always, and I keep saying this, we'd love to hear from you. So please leave a comment. And also please consider that Buy Me a Coffee fund to help, you know, it's the keyboard fund. Sorry, so I can do some music. That sound good, Captain? Yeah.
That sounds really good.
I think that sounds really good.
Deep Thoughts with Captain Influence.
If you ever catch yourself jonesing for fish sticks, stab yourself in the knee and head to Long John Silver's. When you walk into the door, loudly introduce yourself as the pirate Davy Jones. That should get you free food and an ambulance ride.
I'm Davy Jones. I
Where's
can't do
your
it.
locker?
You know how he like pops? I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry.
You're not a fish.
I know, but I like Davy Jones, and fighting the Flying Dutchman is fantastic. It's one of my favorite things to do, actually. Thank you again for joining us. Have an amazing week. Seriously. Glorious times. Real Brian Show. Signing off.
The Real Brian Show is a production of 514 Media at 514mediaempire.com.